Welcome to a With Friends episode of Unjuggle the Struggle. Today, I am so excited to bring on my new friend, Emily Garcia. She is a mental health therapist, a keynote speaker, and a group practice owner with multiple offices in the Denver area. Emily, thank you for being here today.
Brittany, thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. I will say what I love about how we met and our relationship that we are just starting is that this is truly the power of social media. And I really believe that this is what social media is all about. It is about connecting people. Yes, we are both local, but that was actually one of the reasons why I reached out to you. I was like, hey, you're local, I'm local, you're doing cool things. I want to keep doing cool things. And then from there, you were just so open. So I'm curious, tell us more about who we're actually talking to, because you and I are just getting to know each other. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about your story. And then we'll get into, the area of life that you have unjuggled, and then the area of life that, or backwards, sorry, the area of life that you are unjuggling. And then we're going to talk about your expertise, which is really in connection with others. So Emily, who are we talking to today?
Cool. Thank you. Yeah,
You're
this
welcome.
is the funny thing about social media. I'll just say before I tell a little more about who I am is, if you're on social media, you have so many people reach out to you all the time. And a lot of it, I'm like, oh no, I just am like, not going to do it. But as soon as you connected with me, I was like, there's something with her. I'm going to connect with her. And it was so good. So
It was.
the universe brought us together.
Agreed. It was one of those things where I told your crew this. It was that squealy girl moment where it was like, I don't know what's happening, but oh my gosh, I love it so much. And then things have just gone from there. And now we're here today. So, okay. Yes. You tell us, who are we talking to? Tell us more.
So I am a therapist. I'm a group practice owner, keynote speaker. I'm also writing my first book, and my deadline for getting my manuscript done is the end of 2026. So then I'll start the whole editing process. But the way that I got into what I do now is when I was 15, my family went through a pretty traumatic experience and the courts were involved. There was victims' compensation money that I was given, and I was told, you need to go to therapy. I'm 15. I'm like, what is therapy? What's that going to even do for me? And I was living with my sister. She was my kinship foster mother at the time. And she said, okay, I'm calling some therapists. So she calls 3 therapists. The third one answers. Her name is Fran. Fran was wonderful. So I met with Fran because she was the one who answered, but she changed my life. From meeting with her, being 15 and everything I had gone through, I had a victim mindset. And it felt like, things happen to me. I'm not in control. People are just going to do things. And I don't get to decide anything. But Fran was very maternal and nurturing and also very direct. And
Nope.
she would say, Emily, stop. Is that really true? Is that true? And she would get me to look at things from a different lens. Well, I met with her until I went to college. She even met with me when the victims' comp money ran out. So she saw me for free. I don't even know how long it was now.
Oh.
But from the time with her, I wanted to help other people in the way that she had helped me. I didn't know back then that I also wanted to be a therapist. I was like, well, I want to maybe be a social worker. I want to do something. But that led me to, from various things, different areas of social work into therapy. And it is the best thing that could have happened. It's kind of one of those things where you take the mess or the pain in your life and turn it into your purpose.
Yep. And I think so many people talk about that, but then to actually hear your experience, your lived experience where you did just that, yeah, it's inspiring, and it shows folks that it really there's so much mess out there, and that it's a choice on how you're going to use it.
Right. Yeah, we
Yeah.
have, with everything that happens, we have a choice. Usually there are 2 paths, sometimes more, but we can either let it define us in a negative way, or we can let it be something that we go, oh, I got through that and I can use it in a positive way.
Yeah. Yeah. And tell us then how that very quickly, I mean, it leads to you just finding this, I'll say the word like vocation. You just knew that that's where you were supposed to serve. And then how that quickly grew into what Tribe is today.
Yeah, there was a lot of in between, but
Yeah.
I went back to grad school while I was working nights doing child protection in my 20s. I go back to
Wow.
grad school, and then the week I graduated, I got a call from someone who said, "You have to interview for this job." And it was as a therapist for a school-based team. So working for community
Okay.
mental health, but in schools. I got that job. At first, I mean, I was brand new. I didn't know what I was doing and I wasn't very good at it. But then over time and learning and going, okay, I have some things that I need to figure out. It really was such an incredible thing to get to do. So I did that for almost 8 years, got promoted to be the manager of my team, realized after a couple years that that was not good for me. I was not good in
Oh,
middle management and started, it was long story short, one night at dinner, my husband's like, "You're not happy. What do you want to do?" And I ended up saying, like, "I want to have a private practice." And I name off all the things I want to do. And eventually that's what happened.
eventually that's what happened.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you did not let us skip that middle part where the path was taking you down a very different direction. And that moment where you say, yeah, this isn't what I want anymore. Can you spend just a
Mhm.
little bit more time on? I mean, you mentioned that there's this dinner that takes
Yeah.
place. How do you get to the point where there's this dinner? What is dinner actually like? And then what happens after that moment?
Yeah. So I'm like 2.5 years into this job. And the first year was great. And then the second year got really hard. And I would come home from work crying 2 or 3 times a week.
Oh,
It was so hard because I wanted so badly to do it well and I was not because I didn't have the proper training to be a leader. I didn't have the support I needed. And so we go to dinner one night. It's Friday night. My husband says, we sit down in these raised booths in the middle of a restaurant. There are three of them and everyone else is lower. So we're kind of like on a stage is what it feels like. And he asks me how my week was. And I'm crying, but not crying. I'm sobbing at the table. And people are looking at us. I'm thinking they probably think he's breaking up with me right
yeah,
now. It
yep,
looks
yep.
that bad. So he says, hold on, hold on. He gets up and he goes up to the cash register and he asks for paper. They give him like a long printout of receipt paper. He comes back and he's like, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "I want to see my own clients again. What else do you want to do?" I said, "I want to run wellness retreats. What else? I want to keynote speak. What else?" And I'm going down the list. And he goes, "Okay, when are you going to do it?" And I said, "In 4 years." And he has this visceral, like, "You're kidding me. You are 2.5 years in. You don't have 4 years in you." So by the end of dinner, he got me down to 2 years. I have the receipt paper. I actually just shared it with my team the day that you saw them,
Oh,
where he had 4 and he crossed it out at the end and said 2. And I signed it and I said, "Okay, in 2 years, I'm leaving." And then a week later, we go on vacation. We wake up and, like not with the stress of everyday stuff. I woke up and I went, I could leave in a year and have everything up and going for this company, which was terrifying because, when you're in
yeah,
a W-2 job and you're like, I have a regular salary, I have benefits, I have 401k, and I'm going to leave that for something that I may not make a dime. I might
yep,
totally fail.
yeah.
But I started taking the steps and it was a year later, I left my job and I knew it was the right choice on my very last day because that evening I was putting clothes in the washing machine. And as I'm putting them in, not like the fun thing you're doing, I had
Yeah.
this literal wave of relief run through my body. Like, I did the right thing and I knew it. And
Yeah.
it has been, I mean, owning a business is so hard in so many ways and so amazing in other ways. I'm like, well, if I don't like
Yeah.
it, I'm not going to do it. But if I like that and I want to try it, I'll do it. And it's like really cool because then I also have a lot more choice over what I'm doing, who I'm surrounding myself with over my day to day. And
Yeah.
it's really amazing.
Yeah. I agree, coming from a corporate background myself, having that moment where it was like, okay, this isn't it anymore. this isn't it anymore, is what it was for me. And I knew it the second I gave notice, and it was like, whew, it was just this wave of relief. And yeah, not knowing how if I was leaving and was going to make a dime, not knowing what was next, and also how freeing that was,
Yeah.
how freeing it was. And when you talk about choice, it's still, I still don't think that it's like lost on me, or I'm just so grateful every single day, because I didn't realize how much choice I had given away when I was showing up in my, 8 to 5, whatever it was. Um, yeah, you give your choice away. And it wasn't until I got out of that I realized, oh man, this is about, what do I want to choose? Like, I want to choose bigger dreams. I want to choose where my time is going. I want to choose what lights me up. I want to choose things that I am drawn to, that I want to do, that I want to choose, versus the things that I feel are being pressed on me that I have to choose. And that's a totally different posture.
Yes. So I'll
Yeah.
tell you something funny is I was working for a mental health organization, and my husband was working in real estate. He was on a real estate team at the time, and he would come home every day saying, "Oh, we're reading this book." Like, they read the book The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod, and
Okay.
it was like, that's all about like waking up and having a routine and how much it helps your life. We're reading this book. We're talking about meditation. We're doing all these things. They were doing so many things that I was like, I work in mental health, and we've never once done any of that. And I was like, I want that. And I'm going to create it, because I'm not going to find it where I am now. And it wouldn't be
Yeah.
even, I don't have any proof of this, but I don't think even trying to create it would have been accepted at that point where I was. So I was like, I'm going to choose that. I'm going to make it.
Yes. Yes. And they often say, like, if you can't find the tables that you're looking for, the rooms that you're looking for, well, then your option is to create it. And that's
Yeah.
exactly, yeah, that's exactly what you did. And I can tell that's what you did, because Emily, when I talked to your team, oh man, I want to be able to put words that do it justice. What you have built is so special. What you've built is so special. Not only just the pure talent that is in the room that you have curated amongst these women, but the type of, like, who these people are. They are passionate, they are dedicated to the work, they are there by choice. You can tell that that's important to them. This is what they want to do, this is how they want to serve people. And then the other thing that made it really, really just stand out, truly exemplary, was the way that you can tell your leadership is infused in everything that they do, and who they are, and the culture that you have built. Girl, you have done what you set out to do. 100%.
Thank you. It is
Yeah.
one of the best things that I feel like I could have done in my life, because when I left that last job being a manager, I kept saying, I'm a terrible manager. I don't ever want to
No.
manage people again. I'm not cut out for it. And with time and distance and learning, I realized that it wasn't about me. I was in a position that was really hard and didn't have a lot of support. But then deciding I want to choose good people to be around, people who are in this profession for the right reasons, who genuinely care about their clients, who genuinely care about their community. That's
Yeah.
like has gone into surrounding myself with the right people. And like there's that the saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And
Mhm.
we need to be around people who are good for us,
Yeah.
personally and professionally.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, you attracted that for sure. For sure. Okay, so we talked about your work. Tell us a little bit more about, like, you personally.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so funny. I should start with that. But then I'm like, oh, this is work. Yeah. So I'm a mom. I have a newly driver's permitted 15-year-old daughter and a 12-year-old son. They're super, super cool kids. Both of them got their first, well, my daughter got her first like real W-2 job this summer,
Oh my
and like
goodness.
helping with summer camps at an art studio. And then my son, because he was watching her, he was like, when can I work? I want to earn money. So then through a friend of a friend, he ended up getting like a gardening gig with people who are selling their house, and
Cool.
he's like helping them. So very just like good humans. They're really great people. And I'm married. I'm in my second marriage. We've been married We got married in 2018, but we've been together 10 years now.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah,
Beautiful. Beautiful. So you're juggling all the things is what I'm hearing, just like all of us. Like you've got work, you've got marriage, you've got mom in it, you've got building a team, keeping a team happy, you've got serving clients because you still have your own client base as well.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah. So you are okay. So how do you juggle all the things? And like let's get into the nitty-gritty of this. So can
Mhm.
you give us a specific example of maybe something that happened over the last week where you were trying to figure out who gets your time, when, where, like how are you managing that?
Yeah, it's an evolving thing all the time because I feel like there's so many things that I want to do and so many places I
Yeah.
want to be. And then there's this tension in me between I'm building this stuff, but then also focusing where I need to like nurture and put some love in and like pull
Yeah.
some weeds and water it, which is with family and friendships, that kind of thing. So, you know, one of the big things for me is we spend a lot of time in the car. My kids, their
Okay.
dad lives 45 minutes diagonal across town, and their activities, we're in Arvada. Their activities are mostly all in Denver. So lots of
Love
time
that.
in the car. I know. It's like, it's this double-edged sword
Yeah.
because I go when I shouldn't have done this, but I added up all the hours I spend in the car at one point, and I was like, it is just for me having the kids 50% of the time. I'm in the car only for their activities, not for nothing else, not driving to work, not running errands, 12 and a half hours a week. And I was like, that is crazy. And so,
That is
yeah,
crazy. That is
that's the
crazy.
best
And
thing.
that is very I'm hearing very normal. I don't I'm this is like a season of life for so many women that I'm talking to, and I can see it starting to grow even in my own life too. We are driving so much to get these kids all over the place.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
growing up, my mom would say, I'm not your chauffeur. And so
Yeah.
I rode the bus everywhere. And I don't want to put my kids on the bus because I don't think that's not where I want them to be. But I also am like, I kind of get it from like our parents' generation where they were like, you can get there, go figure it out.
Yeah.
But that is
Yeah.
one of those things where, the double-edged sword part of it is it's a lot of time, but then it's the time I have with them where we
Yeah.
listen to music and we talk and we have a great time. And so one of the things that I'm constantly struggling with is when I look at my own core values, my number
Mm-hmm.
one core value is family. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that sounds cliche because a lot of people will be like, well, that's not really for me, but it really is for me. And the way I know it is anytime I've overextended myself somewhere else, if I don't have the time for my family, I feel way worse. And
Mm-hmm.
so even if the time with my family can create other stressors, because
Yeah.
I'm not checking my email, I'm not getting other things done. I can't there's no time on my calendar for a certain appointment. I can at least go, well, the family's there, but it's still there is a tension that's in it.
Yeah. The tension. Do you what emotions would you say that you're feeling in that tension? Is it guilt? Is it what emotions come to mind?
Yeah. Guilt is one of them. I would say that another one is feeling overwhelmed, and
Mm,
another is feeling like, and I'm like, what is the feeling? But it is that
yeah.
I'm never showing up 100%. I'm just like doing just enough to skate by at times.
Mm, mm. Is it I think for me too, sometimes maybe it is like a disappointment that I would say maybe I would add on to what you said about not being 100% in that thing. It's the disappointment of knowing that I'm not 100% in it.
Yeah.
That's
And I
another
don't
one
like
for me.
disappointing other people.
Yeah,
That's
no one does, right? Like that's not
no, it's
really
so
fun
hard.
for any of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So how are you? Okay, so for you, I was actually just talking with one of my own clients the other day, and what part of what she was going through is a lot of overwhelm. And so we were talking about, it's funny that you mentioned like going back to your core values. So I call it decision criteria. Like, what is your decision criteria? So when you're hey, do we commit to going to this sports activity? Do we commit to this barbecue? Do I commit to this work thing? Kind of butting it up against your decision criteria, which are often your core values. So you mentioned it's family. Do you think that you have other decision criteria that you use almost every single time too?
Mm-hmm. I mean, so the top three: family, there's my health, which is overall wellness.
Mm.
And then a third one is, I call it security, but like, am I feeling secure in myself with this thing? And does
Oh,
it make me feel safe? Like, am I safe out in the world if I do that? Am I safe in my body? Am I safe in multiple environments? And so those are three things that I'll always look back at and go, okay, if I do this, does that pull me away from my family? If I do it, am I contributing to my health? Or am I going to be
mhm.
so burnt out by
Yeah.
Sunday night that Monday morning rolls around and I am lacking?
Yeah.
And do I feel secure? Like, is this something that makes me feel really good and confident in myself by showing up and doing that thing? And then I can take those and go, based on history, if I had done
Yeah.
it in the past, would it have worked for me or would it have not?
Yeah. Yep. Oh, that's so good. I love that. The your decision criteria, how you butt it up against that. And even then, right? The juggling of do you how often do you think you break your decision criteria or
Mhm.
you do things that you darn well know, for instance, your example where you're like, oh man, I know I'm going to pay for this come Monday morning. This is a decision that's not going to contribute to my health.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Oh,
So sometimes, like, for example, I was taking my daughter to a concert last week and I was like, I'm going to be up late. I know that's going to happen and I'll be tired, but it's worth it when it's every once in a while. Then I'm just like, I'm mentally prepared. I know it's going to happen. I'll get through the next day. I'll have my sleep hangover and it'll be okay. But then the times in my life when I'm really overwhelmed, when it's like everything's hitting at the same time, it's almost
yeah.
like my self advocate, like, she goes away. She's like, okay, see you
Oh,
later. And then I'm like, okay, yes, 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 yes. And even as I'm saying yes, I'm like, why am I saying yes? I should say no. I know it. And it's already come out of my mouth. And so that might happen once every few months that I'm
yeah.
like, why am I doing this to myself?
Yeah. And then it's a catching yourself in that pattern.
Yes.
Yeah, same. Same. I do that often. The catching myself in the pattern. I would say that that has almost like become a game at this point that I'm playing with myself. Like how often, and it's catching myself in the pattern of like thoughts I know I don't believe anymore. Like limiting
Hmm.
belief type stuff that you're like, I know that's not truth. Why is that even popping up? Or the words that I actually say where you're like, well, I don't even. That's not. No, that's not the perception of it. Or man, I said yes to an awful lot of things and I'm feeling overwhelmed and I know it. Pattern recognition so
Yeah.
that I can try and make a different choice. Yeah, I'm with you, girl. I'm with you.
Yeah, but it's so hard because that's like, I feel like our inhibition is gone. It's
Yeah.
like, when people are young and they're drinking and their inhibitions go down, it's
Yeah.
like the adulting version is, I have taken on too much and now my inhibition is
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and we're like, we want to believe, I think that we want to believe that we can do all things, right? And of course, yes, on some respect, we can do all things. And also we cannot do all things.
Right. Yeah. That's also where there are women in my life and I watch the way that they say no. And I'm like, noted.
Mm,
They said
noted.
no. Like, I asked that woman to do this thing and she said no. And I have so much respect for it because she said, I would love to fully show up for this. And with everything I have on my plate, I can't. So I'm going to politely decline or, some version of that.
So
And I'm
good.
like, I need to do that.
I need to do that. What was the last thing? Okay, I know my answer. What was the last thing you said no to?
Hmm.
Like confidently said no to?
Okay. There is like a big, like, what are they called? Like a philanthropic group in Arvada
Okay.
that a lot of people I know go to it every week. and I was at an event and met some people from it. They introduced me to the guy who's the leader of it. And he was like, "You need to come." And I was like, "Oh, thank you so much. But that's not something I could fit in right now, but I'd love to stay in touch." And he kind of like pushed a little more, but I stayed firm.
Oh,
I
good
was
job.
like, I said, let's just stay in touch. And if anything changes in my schedule, I'll be in touch with you. But I was like, because part of me is like, that is right up my alley. I love that kind of stuff. And I also know I will be kicking myself if I say yes
If you
to
say
it.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. What about
Or
you?
if you say yes right now.
Yes. It
Yeah.
could be like a no, not now, maybe
Now.
later. Or maybe it's a
Yeah.
no. I don't know that yet.
It's a no. Or maybe it's no. But I love that you stuck to your guns, especially to sometimes I have a moment where I pause extra if there's like if there's a second attempt made, because in my brain I'm like, okay, now at this point I really I acknowledge that there was a second attempt. I acknowledge the courage, I acknowledge the persistence. I really value that someone would make a second attempt to do something, because I just don't think that that's a common practice. And so that one for me, not that I'm going to say yes every time, but man, I'll really consider it a little bit more if you're coming at me twice about it. Yeah.
I know. Because it's almost like a negotiation technique. Like,
yeah.
But if I just ask you again, you might say yes.
You might say yes. Well, and then I think that it's partially a personality thing on my side, is that I'm not afraid to ask 2 or 3 or 4 times. It's professional persistence, okay? But I'm telling you, there's power in it. There's power in it. But there's also power in the persistence of just sticking to, hey, it's a no for me right now. It's a no for me.
Well, and in the back of my mind, I was like, I will disappoint you if I say yes. You don't want me there right now because I can't commit to this. Even if I want to, I know I can't.
Yeah, I think that's so fair too. Is like, we'd rather show up, kind of what we were talking about, being able to be 100% in, or at least 99% in, if we're going to say yes to something. Yeah. The last time that I said no was actually something over the last week. And I thought it was really interesting how things come back around. So I was speaking to someone who was considering one of the programs that I offer. And they ended up coming back and they were like, Britt, at this point in time, I just cannot afford it. But I'm curious, would you be willing to do the work? And then when I see this certain result, then at that point in time, I can, get you some funds from this place or that place. Or it was just kind of getting really, I would say, messy. And while I appreciated the courage, I appreciated the creativity, my response at that time was actually like, hey, let me just sleep on my answer. And I knew it the second that I was being asked the question that it was a no for me, because I had actually asked a mentor who I highly respect, I think it was about a year ago. I was considering something for them. And at that point in time, it's just not financially feasible for the investment. It was like, hey, what if give us 30 days to work through some stuff? And at that point in time, she gave me the same response that I ended up giving this person. And it was just such a confident, hard no. But it wasn't without acknowledging first the courage, the creativity. But then it was also like, hey, there is something really magical that happens when we choose to invest in ourselves. And there's an energetic shift that takes place. And so to serve you well and to honor what I bring to the table, it has to be a no. And when you can make full payment, just let me know. Guess what happened? A couple days later, she sure did, paid in full. And the way that I am showing up in those client calls, 100% different than if I would have, I just know myself, 100% difference than if I would have been like, well, yes, let's see what we can work out. And so I just think, there's so much power in a confident no that,
Did you feel it in your body? Did your
100%.
body oh no, don't this is not a yes.
Yeah, 100%. And that too, Emily, that has only been something that I've become familiar with over, oh my goodness, it's only been 3, 4 years that I've even paid attention enough to what does my body say about this? Because for so long, especially in my corporate environment, like the programming is, it's all black and white and it all happens up in your head. And so for me, over the last 3, 4 years, to really start learning how to get into my body and that, hey, my body, my intuition, my soul is also going to help me make this decision in addition to the logic that's in the brain, and being able to then combine that and make decisions so much quicker. They're so much more aligned to, what we're talking about is like, how do I make sure, what's my decision criteria? What keeps me on track for the things that I know are I value and that I want most. So 100% felt it in my body.
It's such an interesting shift. There's something called the extended mind, which is like your body has knowledge, there's wisdom in our bodies. And a good example of it is when you're out in public, and have you ever had the experience where you feel like someone's looking at you or watching you and you look up and they are?
Yeah.
That's because your body knows before your mind does. Like your body literally knows, and then it tells your mind like, oh, that person's looking. But we have that in so many ways, but we are taught to like, our mind is just up here. Don't go below the shoulders. And really, when you can tune into it, like our body's going to tell us, and then it's a ping pong.
Oh, it is wild. Yes, that has definitely happened. So, okay. I love this that it's reassuring to know that you are also trying to juggle all of the things, mom, work, everything. And that, you like me and like so many other women, we know we don't always get it right, but by golly, we sure are trying and we are learning how to say no. And that is serving us well too.
It's true. Yeah. I think anyone who pretends they have it all and they're not figuring it out, I'm like, it's just a facade.
Yeah. Yeah. I have gotten to that point too, where it's like, and I don't even know if it's an intentional facade. I actually think that sometimes in the work that I do, I would say majority of the time, they have no idea the things that they are. It's like the iceberg. It's like they are only truly aware of like what is on the surface, and they just are not even interested, don't even want to play with all this stuff underneath. So it feels like everything is fine.
Yeah. Because fine is okay. You don't have to do anything. You can stay comfortable with fine.
Why I want to go actually, since this isn't where I was intending on going with the conversation, but I would like to. Talking more about, because I see more folks, kind of what we were just mentioning. I see more folks who adopt and who accept fine. Can you dive into a little bit from your personal and your professional perspective, what you have experienced with folks with that and what's really happening, and maybe even too, if you have a word of advice on how to kind of like wake up just a little bit, or how would you even know if like, what's a question or what's something you could do that would even go, oh my goodness, I'm sleeping at the wheel. I didn't even know.
Yeah. Okay, let me start with the question. My question is, are you living as though you're the main character of your life, or are you living as though you are a supporting character? And what I mean by that is when you're a supporting character, you do what other people want. You let them make the decisions, you go along with it, you're showing up and it's their life. And you're like, well, yeah, it's my life too, because you're the character in the show, but it's not what you've chosen. When you're the main character, you don't have to be in main character energy all the time, but you are going, this is my purpose. Like like I feel this deep in my soul. This is something I need to be doing. This is the kind of relationship I want to pursue. This is the kind of life I want to have. And it's really hard to even know your purpose and know what those things are, but that you're asking and going, well, I don't know what that is, but staying open to it. So you're getting outside of your comfort zone, because fine is in that little comfort zone. It's like all the autopilot stuff, and then getting into your stretch zone and going, well, what could it be? And maybe the first step is just going, well, I wonder what that is.
I
And
wonder.
who do I see living a life that when I see it, I'm like, that's really cool. And maybe I need to try something like that.
I like that. Just paying attention paying attention for the reactions, like paying
Yeah.
attention to what actually feels better than, more exciting than fine.
Yes. And the better than doesn't always feel great. It
Ugh.
sometimes feels like, oh, I'm terrified. I don't know if I like this, but the terrified, like, oh, the butterflies in your stomach, and I don't know if I can do it, and all the self-doubts that pop up, that actually can be the thing that you need.
Can you tell that that's been part of my story by my reaction? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. I love that.
Yeah, the one that you're like, oh no, I can't unsee it now. And you're like, Shay, you're like, I don't, you're trying to go back in time so that you can unsee it. You're like, nope, I
Can't
can't.
take
Darn
two.
it.
Like, no, there is no two. You just have to do
Darn it.
it.
Yep. Yep. Oh, yes. Oh, I love your perspective on that. Thank you for sharing, because I know that you and I could do a lot of work in that space too. And I love those questions. The other thing that's kind of coming to mind is I want to go back to what I personally witnessed, and it's the relationship that you have with people, from something that you have unjuggled, something that you were definitely an expert in. It's relationships, and that's so clear. Talk to us about how do you create such a genuine connection and such genuine relationships with people? It seems like it comes so naturally to you.
Yeah. And sometimes it's natural. Sometimes I feel very awkward. So there's like, okay, if I'm not going to do it, no one else will kind of thing. Like my niece, when she was maybe middle school, but like that early adolescent age, she would always go up and talk to people in public. And my brother said, why do you do that? And she was like, because everyone wants someone to talk to them and they want to feel like someone cares, but no one's going to do it unless it's you. And so
Oh,
I was like, oh, that's so true. And so I always have her in the back of my mind. But I also, when I started Tribe, the reason why Tribe is the name is because the Surgeon General at the time, Vivek Murthy, he had been doing all these talks and wrote a book about loneliness in the US. And
mm,
he kept talking about how loneliness was an epidemic. And even though we were more connected than ever, even though people were on social media and email and all these things,
yeah,
so many people were depressed and lonely. Suicide was up. It was like people just needed a place to feel belonging. And
yeah,
that's in my life. I just want people to feel like whoever you are, I I'm here and I accept you for who you are, and that you like have someone to talk to. And here's like a very like everyday example. When we moved into the house that we're in now in 2021, I was like, I want to meet all the neighbors because, if you don't meet them right away, then it's awkward. You're like, should I wave to that person or I don't know. And that's kind of like been my thing is like I talk to people and say hello. And then yesterday our doorbell rang. It was our neighbor from two doors down, and she was clearly not okay. And
Oh
she
no.
said, our dog just died on our couch. We have to take her to the vet. Is it possible that you could come and sit with our daughter? She's just waking up from a nap. She's 2. Can you come sit with her until my parents can come and be there? And so I'm like, of course. Yeah. So I walk up to her house.
Yeah.
I'm with her daughter. And then later in the day, she texts me, and they unfortunately couldn't get the dog back to life. But she just said, I'm so grateful. You were the first person I thought of because I didn't know who to go to, who could be with her. And I just was like, this is
Oh,
exactly what I want people to have. I want people to feel like with me and with other people, like I have someone I can go to and I can knock on their door and they're safe and they're going to take care of someone in my family when I need to go do something else. Like that's
yeah.
really important to me to create that. And so that kind of feeling is what I carry everywhere in life. And not like I'm making friends. I'm not like, in the
No.
grocery store and like coming home with people's phone numbers. Like I do have limits, but
No.
I just want people to feel like there's someone I can turn to.
Yeah, I was going to say that. It's like it's more than just being friendly, though.
Yeah.
It feels like you have this gift or this ability to hold space for other people. Like that's what it feels. Do you think that that's something that all of us like can do for people, like can do more than maybe we think we can?
Yes.
Like, and how do you do that? How do you hold space for people? Especially maybe if you're not as friendly as you are.
Yeah. Which, well, there are a lot of people in the world who are like, I don't want to interact with a stranger. So
There's a
that is
lot of
totally
people,
fair.
but
And
that
I think,
doesn't mean that they're not begging for connection.
yes,
Mhm.
everyone needs connection. We
Mhm.
heal in connection, we heal in relationship. And there are all kinds of studies that show that people who have at least one positive relationship, and it doesn't have to be a marriage or an intimate relationship, people who have at least one, they live longer, are happier, and they're healthier.
Yep. Yep.
So it's like finding it in the way that works for you. And I would say curiosity is the key. I'm curious
Oh.
about people. And we live in a world that's very judgmental, that we make assumptions about people, that we want to
Mm.
make people single layered. And people are not single layered. We are all multi layered. And there's so much, like, everyone has good and bad in them. There's like no one who's, well, I mean, unless you're like a serial killer, I don't know. But I think most people, it's like we have these good layers and we have these like layers that we don't really want people to see, that we're not proud of.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
just being curious and like, okay, who are you? Where do you come from? Like, why do you think that? Or that's a way to connect. And it's a really beautiful way to see people.
Yeah. I think the so how you just said curiosity without assumption is what I wrote down, because it is. Yeah, it's a curiosity without assumption. I think too, I've witnessed folks where they're like, "Hey, I'm just not that outgoing. I don't like small talk. I don't know what I would even say." One of my favorite just curiosity type questions that I think really connects well with folks is just, "What's your story?" And because I am one of those people who I do not I don't enjoy small talk at any. I like, give me 3 minutes with you and I'm gonna figure out your story and like what makes you tick, what makes
Yeah.
you excited, like that's my jam. That's my jam. I don't want to talk about the weather. Hard pass, no thank you. It's the same as it was yesterday as far as I'm concerned. But
Yeah.
the small talk is like, so what if someone was trying to, hey, how do I actually connect? What's a curiosity leading maybe conversation starter? I think my suggestion would be, hey, what's your story? Hi, I'm Brittany. What's your story?
Yeah.
And then being willing to share your story. What other kind of conversation starters have you found really help folks connect right off the bat?
Yeah. Finding something that could be in common. And so, like, let's say you're at a barbecue and you're like, oh, how do you know Brittany? But don't just stop there. Like, oh, you went to high school with her. Where did you go? And well, like, what was she like in high school? Or what were you like in high school? And then, like, oh, I did the same thing, and that kind of thing. I think that
Love it.
that is one thing. Or like, maybe you're not at a place where you know anyone in common. Maybe you like their shoes. Like, I really like your shoes. Where'd you get those? And ask more questions. The curiosity of like, go a little deeper, because I know
Mm,
for me, sometimes when people asks me a question, I will go, do they really want me to talk more? And so I'll kind of like stop, even though I could tell more. And so if they ask
yeah.
more, then I'm like, oh, okay, you are genuinely interested, and I'll say
Yeah.
more.
Yes, yes. Yeah. I think there's a body language thing that takes place too. And just having the ability to see as someone present in the conversation. Because I think there's a difference if you're asked, hey, what's your story? Hey, I like your shoes. And then they're already looking over at somebody else, or that, yeah, because do you think, how do I phrase this question? I don't even know if this is a good question or not. Do you think the connection You think in order to connect, you think that that takes two?
Yes.
Go ahead.
And the reason I say yes is if someone isn't willing to connect, if they do have that body language, like they're
Mm-hmm.
kind of turning away, they're looking around the room, you start to go, okay, I don't have anything else I can say to you or ask you about. Like, it's nice chatting with you. Have a good day. That kind of
Not.
that is a disconnection.
Hmm.
What do you think? It looks like you might have a different thought.
I don't know. I think I might. Because I mean, at first I want to say, yeah, connection takes two. Like you have to be willing to give and receive, right? That makes sense. And then there's also a piece of me, like, I think about how many times I've had conversations or initiated conversation with curiosity, and how I wonder how human nature it is for everybody to kind of have squirrel moments. And so, because we're like socially conditioned at this point to already be into the next conversation. And so, even if it's like, Brittany, tell me a little bit more about you. And I'm telling just a little bit to see, like, hey, how engaged are we in this conversation? And they happen to already be looking off. I almost wonder, because I've seen it, I think that we do have an ability to like pull people back from their squirrel moment and to like capture them with our words, to capture them with our own curiosity back. Like, hey, I'd be curious, you know, where'd you get your shoes? Or where'd you like, so for us, so I do think that one person can hold the connection long enough that the other person could come back to it.
You know what I think is underneath that? It is
Yeah.
your
What?
connection with yourself. If you feel like I really like me, regardless of the outcome of whoever I'm around today, then you can stay present in that moment to connect with
Mhm.
that other person. And so it's like even before you go into that space with other people, being like, hey, you're pretty cool. I like you. We're together today. And then it's like whatever happens is fine.
Yes, yes, yes. I think you nailed it. Like having a level, it's I don't even think, yeah, you're making me think that connection and starting conversations with people isn't even a confidence thing. It's a like, do you like you type
Yeah.
of thing. And if you don't like you yet, can you latch onto a couple things that you do like about you until the
Hmm.
rest of you can get there? And then those pieces of you, if you bring those forth, then that's what other people can actually connect to. And that'll only then grow and ripple into more of that in your life.
Yeah. That
Hmm.
sums it up.
Ooh, look at us solving the world's connection problems.
I know.
Oh,
Ha,
way to go, girl.
yeah.
Oh, it's so good. I love it. Okay, on connection. So on connection and building relationships, like some of my takeaways is I think that we just landed on really like where it all starts is it starts with self. That inner knowing, that inner like, hey, is there something like what is it about you? Do you like you? And then that's what you take out into the world to actually build real connections and real relationships with people. And it's about having this curiosity, this posture of curiosity without assumption. And at the very, very least, like a place to just start is to just find something in common and then let it go from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it
So
feels
good.
so good when you make those connections and you're like, I had the
Yeah.
best time.
Yes, it does. It's very, very fulfilling. I agree. I agree. All right, Emily, my friend, before we get into part 3 of the podcast, all right, where I've got some questions for you, I would love for you to just tell folks like where can they get in touch with you? I'll include everything in the show notes, but for anybody listening, how can they get in touch with you?
Cool. Yes, you can find my team, the Tribe Mind Body Wellness team, online through our website, tribemindbody.com. Everyone on our team, so I didn't say this earlier, we work with all ages, kids as young as 4, teens, adults, and couples. And we have an office in Lakewood and Arvada, plus we work virtually. So you can
Nice.
find us there. We're on Instagram and Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn, but Instagram and Facebook are Tribe Mind Body Wellness.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right. And then for part 3. I've got a couple more questions. I know that we are at our scheduled time. Do you still have a little bit more time?
I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Beautiful. Okay. So, one question that I have asked every podcast guest is that I have spent a lot of my time, really the thing that changed my life is that I started quitting things that were no longer serving me. So when I say that phrase, quitting things no longer serving you, what comes to mind?
I'm in the middle of quitting this, and maybe it's going to be a lifelong journey. It is the staying quiet when I know it's something I should speak up about. That's a personal and professional thing.
How are you working through that? That's a big one.
Yeah, it's challenging the story in my head, because what has prevented me in the past is I have a whole story about this person's going to be mad at me, and then this is going to happen, and then and I have like a whole timeline of things that have never happened, and saying to myself now, don't worry about that. You deserve to speak up. And also, this is one of those other like pattern recognition things, is sometimes when I do speak up, it actually helps me to feel closer to the other person and for them to feel closer to me, rather than just being like a yes ma'am, being that supporting character that I'm like, no, I am the main character, and this is why that isn't going to work for me, or this is why this is a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. And I will say, speaking up using my voice that's probably, I have to do the opposite sometimes, like know when to keep it zipped. But you're so right in the way that it builds, kind of how you were saying, even too, with connection. Like if someone's just waiting for someone else to start the conversation, it's like the thing that you probably are hesitant on saying, somebody else is already thinking it anyway. And it's just who's going to be bravest first. And who's going to be bravest first. And I really do think that when we speak up, when it would be easier to stay quiet, I think that there's a certain individual that's called to speak up, and that's given that bravery, and that comes from growth and evolving along the way. So I love that you're going through that, and that you get to keep like leaning into it, because it's beautiful.
I don't love it when it happens, but I love it afterward.
I know. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. Then the next question. So have the podcast guest before you leave you a question. So the podcast guest before you was Carly Weber. She is a service-based business consultant. So service-based businesses, she's a business consultant for them. When you're looking at your money and you're like, hey, wait a second, I thought we were making money, but it seems to be going out here. Carly's your gal. She can figure it out. Her and her husband own a multi-million-dollar mechanic shop in Australia. It's awesome. Cool. So Carly's question for you, my friend, is what's one thing you wish you were brave enough to work towards and achieve?
Okay. So the thing, and I know this because it's on my list, the thing I need to work toward is hiring more people to help me. Not therapists, but people who can help me and help my team. That's one of those money things.
Yeah.
Well, for example, I'm managing this team of 17 by myself. And so that's my capacity. Really, there's no more growth after that. So I need someone who can do clinical supervision and some of the operations stuff, that kind of thing.
I love it. All right. Now you're putting it out there. So if you're listening and that you think that might be you, reach out to Emily. All right. All right. So you're working towards and achieving, like actually bringing on help. What do you think is going to be the hardest part about that?
Well, a few months ago, I did order her. I manifested her, I think. Lauren, who is my first, I had a virtual assistant, and now Lauren is my first like assistant coordinator. And
love it.
It has been incredible having her. And I also realized that there's systems that I've created, and then so many things that have been in my head. And so what I've learned from that is being able to get things out on paper so someone else can replicate them and they make sense.
Yeah. Yep. So good. So you think that getting actually the brilliance that is your mind out onto paper, that's just not going to necessarily be a task that you're looking forward to, but you know it's a
Ooh.
necessary evil.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. I love it. All right. You got this, my friend. You got this. All right. And then the last part of the podcast episode is now you get to leave the next podcast guest a question.
Okay. And it could be anyone doing
Anyone. It could be anyone. It could be anything. I actually know who the next podcast guest is.
You don't have to tell me. It's okay.
I'm not going to. I was thinking if I was going to. Okay. If you got a question, go for it.
Okay. I like this question because most people have a really hard time saying these things. What are you most proud of about yourself and how you've gotten to where you are?
You're going to make her cry with that question. Mm-hmm.
Mm.
What are you most proud of? And what was that? Was that
how you've gotten to where you are?
You've gotten to where you are. Oh, I can't wait to ask her. Awesome. Okay. But the leaders that we've never asked them a question and then not answered ourselves. So you and I are going to answer this question. Okay. So you go first. What are you most proud of and how you've gotten where you are?
I am most proud of the way that I adapt. When anything has happened in life, I'll have my I'm going to scream or cry or feel sad about it. But then my next thing is okay, now what? And I'm really proud of how I show up. And that comes back over and over. And it's a muscle that I use and I work.
It is a muscle. Yep.
Yeah.
It's a muscle. Oh, it's good. And you absolutely would say that is how you've gotten where you are now.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Using that
because
muscle.
I'm a combination of careful and also a little bit of a risk taker. And so I can go, oh, that didn't work. Well, that was a big failure. Now let me adapt. And adapt. Then I just figure it out.
Yeah. Do you give space to be sad or disappointed about it, or to have how do you have, I've talked to people where they're I have a 24-hour rule. I have a 1-hour rule. I'm allowed to be upset about something for 24 hours. And then tomorrow we're moving on. Do you have something like that? Just out of curiosity.
I don't have a timeline. I don't have that, but I will let myself feel sad as long as I need to. It's not natural to me to stay in something. So I kind of know, I need to journal about it. I need to call a friend. I need to call my husband. I need to call my other business women who I trust, vent. And then I'm okay, I got it. And now I can move on. So.
And you move on.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Leaning into yourself, leaning into your support system. Beautiful. Let's see mine. What are you most proud of and how you've gotten to where you are? I am most proud of, I am in this season of my life. I am most proud of how I feel like I keep trying is what I would say. I keep trying new things. I say it's not even, I think I went through a little bit of my yes season where it was yes to every opportunity. So it's not even that I'm saying yes to opportunities. I would say that I've been in this season where I've been so diligent about not giving up on myself. I think that's what it is I just keep trying new things. And if I try something and it doesn't work, it's okay, on to the next. Or if I try something, I'm no, I just want to tweak that a little bit. I think I'm close. I try it again and a little something. So the fact that I just keep showing up, not in the sense, because I think sometimes people talk about, they're man, I just keep fighting. And I think that there's a little fight in there, but it doesn't feel like a fight. It just feels like opportunity. It just feels like playing. It feels I just keep saying Not yes. It's not that I'm saying yes. It's just, what am I trying to say, Emily? It's a good question.
It's like saying, is this a yes for me? And then it's yes,
This,
maybe.
oh yeah, there we go. I like that. Is this a yes for me? Okay, I like that. Yeah. Just and actually giving those things a fair shot to reveal themselves or to reveal what they are not, and then moving on to the next. I'm proud of that for this season of my life.
So cool.
Yeah, it's so cool. Emily, thank you so much. I've enjoyed the conversation. I cannot wait to see just the ways that you and I continue to find ways to collaborate and support each other. And I love what you're doing. I told you already 100 times, like what you've got is so special. And I want to be around you. I want to spend more time with you. I hope you feel the same way about me.
Yes, you are doing incredible things. And I feel like I only know this much of it. And I can't wait to learn more.
Oh, I love it. All right. Well, thank you so much. I'll make sure that all of show notes are in there. You guys reach out to Emily. She's phenomenal what she's doing with the work and the women of Tribe. So, all right. Until next time, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for listening to today's episode. It means the world to me that you're here to ride in the struggle bus with me and that you're willing to consider different perspectives, tools, and techniques that just might provide a little bit of relief and get you one step closer to the abundance that is available and waiting for us all. I hope you take a moment to grant yourself some grace where you've been denying it, some love where you didn't realize maybe it was right in front of you, and some faith where you thought all was lost. If this episode had an impact on you, would you please share a comment with a review? I'd love to hear what landed for you, and it helps us get the word out to our fellow struggle bus riders. So please review what was impactful for you. Just know these episodes are a pure labor of love in a space where I'm growing alongside you. I'm evolving every day, and I look forward to all the ways and the things and the perspectives and opinions and choices that will change over the course of time in my own life, day to day. Until next time, just know that you are loved, you are divinely cared for, and in the struggle, the journey of this life really is beautiful. I'm glad that we're in it together. Cheers.